Hi friends, welcome back to SGK English for a new video. IELTS Preparation Episode 7 Writing Test Task 1 Bar Chart. So in the first video of writing test we saw almost all important points to remember, what all things are to be remembered while writing task 1 and also task 2. I hope you have studied it, you have watched it. If any doubts remaining, make your comments, I will really answer them. So before coming to the lesson proper, let me request you to subscribe if you have not, and give me a like and support me, and also enable the bell icon so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video. Okay, come to the lesson proper. So a chart is given and the question, the chart shows, so there will be a description of what the subject matter is. The expenditure of two countries. The chart shows. What does it show? It shows the expenditure of two countries on consumer goods in 2020. So there will always be a description of the subject matter. So the chart shows, understand the question very thoroughly, clearly. It shows the expenditure of two countries in consumer goods in the year 2020. So the two countries are UK and France. Look at this chart. See what all are the goods, consumer goods: cars, computers, books, perfumes and cameras. See, I told you in the first video that while writing the answer there should be introduction first, paraphrasing the question, then overview second. I told very clearly that there is nothing wrong in writing overview as last, but better to write overview second paragraph, then body paragraph number 1 and body paragraph number 2. So how will you write the introduction to this chart? Can you say? The chart illustrates. See, the chart shows, instead of repeating the word shows, another word is used. It illustrates. Yes, it manifests or it demonstrates. So any other word can be used instead of shows. The amount of money spent on, so instead of the expenditure. Okay. The amount of money spent on consumer goods. What are the items is mentioned here in brackets. So keeping bracket is a good method, good technique, avoiding so much explanation. So cars, computers, books, perfumes and cameras. Of course, if the number is limited only you can do that. If it is exceeding 8 plus 8 to 10 or something, you cannot. So 3 to 5 you can number them, okay, and name them 2. You can give in brackets 2, no problem. Okay, so see the introduction once again. Almost all items are there. The chart illustrates the amount of money spent on consumer goods, okay, such as cars, computers, books, perfumes and cameras. In France and in UK in 2020, in two countries, they are France and UK in the year 2020. So an important point is missing there. How the amount is measured? Pound sterling. That is a currency used here for this chart. Not in rupees, neither in dollars too. The amount is measured in pound sterling. So units are measured in pound sterling. So that is an introduction. Okay. Not necessarily exactly this line is rewritten using some other words. Not that. Okay. So what is the introduction to this chart? So the chart illustrates the amount of money spent on consumer goods by two countries, UK and France. And the amount of money is measured, in pounds sterling. That is the introduction. It can be in one or two sentences, that is enough. Don't go for long sentence, it should be in 150 words. And the second task 2 should be in 250 words. You cannot spend much time on this, otherwise you will lose time on the next one. Okay, so you should write in 150 words only, just more than, not less than, more than that, not too much too. Okay, so there is a introduction. Next, overview. So what is overview? Overview highlights key factors. It is in a way summarizing the entire thing of this chart. So let us see how can it be answered, the overview. See this? Overall, the expenditure of the UK. See, the UK. Where do you use the UK? So you cannot say the France. Where do we use articles? That can be used with a nation if it is made up of smaller units. The America you cannot say, but you can say the USA, the UK, the USSR, now no more. Okay, so if a country is made of smaller units, like the Federation of, the Republic of, in such a way the can be used. Otherwise you cannot use the with the name of a nation. You cannot say the India, but you can say the Indians, which means the people of India as a whole. Yes, so let us continue. You see, overall the expenditure of the UK was higher than that of France. See, check and study. Who spends more? We can find. Who is spending more? Higher. See, striped, bar stands for UK and unstriped stands for France, as you can see here. Overall expenditure. See, who spends more on consumer goods? No doubt it is what? UK. So, the UK or French, English people spend more money on consumer goods than that of French people. Okay, the country France. Okay, overall the expenditure of the UK was higher than that of France, not the France, but the French you can say. People of France. Okay, so both the French, see the French, see look here, the French means people of France. The French and the British. Instead of France and Britain, it is being told the French and the British means people of France and Britain. Spend the most amount, the most, superlative degree, the most, degrees of comparison. So chart, two countries are compared. So you have to use very often grammar, degrees of comparison. See that? Where is that? The most, all these things will be counted, marked, and mark will be given accordingly. I told in the first video how marks awarded. Okay, the most amount of money on cars, the highest standing, cars, while in the UK the least amount of money was spent on perfumes compared to cameras in France. Yes, where do they spend most amount of money and where do they spend least amount of money? That is an overview. There is some total summary highlights of this graph. This chart, bar graph, of course, not chart, sorry. So the highlight of this bar graph is that where do they spend the most, where do they spend the least? It is being compared. It is a comparison. Okay, so you have to use degrees of comparison. See the sentence once again. Where is that? Both the French and the British spend the most amount of money, on cars. That is the highest, where they spend the highest amount of money. While in the UK, the least amount of money was spent on perfumes compared to cameras in France. Okay, now. They spend less. See, UK spend less. The least amount that UK spend is on, perfumes, whereas France spend the least amount on cameras. So that is the overview. So overview, you have to say the sum total, the summary, the highlights, That is what is meant by overview. This much enough. 1 or 2 or sentence, maximum 3. 2 enough actually. 2 enough actually. 2, 3 sentences only you can write. Because the entire answer should be, 150 words. So that is overview. Okay, now I hope it is clear. First you write the introduction, paraphrasing the question, then you write the overview. Now let us come to body paragraph number 1 and body paragraph number 2. Okay. After the overview comes body paragraph number 1 and number 2. See, have you studied the chart and understood who spends more? See, striped, nation, that is UK. Look, UK spends more in comparison with France. Own consumer goods. Where do they spend more? Where do they spend less? You can find. So, we have seen that in this, overview. Okay, now. Next comes, body paragraph number 1. See that it deals with the cars where who spends? UK spends more. Then books again UK spends more. Then cameras again UK spends more. Actually, body paragraph we deal with all the items where UK spends their money the most. And body paragraph number 2, you can see computers and perfumes where, who spends? France spends more amount of money than the UK. So, paragraph 1 and 2, it is separated between France and UK. Of course, 2 countries are compared now. So, 2 paragraph, you need not write so many lines or sentences. 2, 3 sentences enough. As you know, overall you need to write only 150 words. So, first paragraph we can deal with the UK and how do they spend. And second paragraph we can deal with France and how do they spend. So, it can be in 2 paragraphs explaining those things. Should understand the structure of the, essay that you are writing or the substance of this paragraph. Then you will find that UK spends more money on these items that you can give in paragraph number 1. And the second paragraph you find that France spends more money on 2 items that can be mentioned in paragraph number 2. Is it clear? There should be a logical arrangement of things. So here we deal with items where UK spends more money. Here we list items where France spends more money. And we say overall expenditure is more for UK than that of France. See the answer. In terms of cars, the UK spend around pounds 450. See, 500,000, 400,000. In the middle it comes, means 450. Okay, 450,000 pounds. So 450,000 pounds, not exactly 500,000, but 400,000 here in the middle. That means half of it. See, in terms of cars, the UK we have already seen. Spend around pounds 450,000 as opposed to pounds 400,000 in France. The expenditure of France is 400,000, whereas that of UK is 450,000. Yes, the expenditure on books in the UK was higher than in France, about 400,000 and 300,000 respectively, in the same order. That word, mark that word. So we are explaining where they spend more, where they spend less. The same pattern of expenditure can be found on cameras too. There also the UK spends more money than that of France. Okay, now. So actually the first paragraph we deal with items where UK spend more money, and second paragraph we deal with items where France spend more money. Okay, now. So in a way this deals with UK and this deals with France. Okay, now. So that is why it is compared. Two paragraph. In this two paragraph, the entire topic is discussed. Here we discuss where they spend more money, how much they spend and how much they spend less. Okay. And here we come to France, how much they spend on these consumer items. See here, finally, last paragraph means at the end. See, that is a linger. Okay. Some linkage here study, some we have discussed when we learned writing task. Okay, some more we will discuss in the coming videos. Some structural grammar I will discuss in the next video. Structural grammar, we have to study some structural grammar. Okay, finally coming to the expenditure on computers and cameras, the order is reversed. So here we find the UK find more money and France spend less money. When we come to the expenditure on computers and cameras, the order is reversed and France spends more than that of the UK. Yes, in these two items, what are they? Computers and perfumes. There France spends more money, or you can say spend, no, not spends actually, because after spending only SPNT. Okay, it is being made. So France spend more amount of money, the order is reversed and France spend more than that of the UK. You can mention after this, the amount also can be mentioned. You can add just one sentence here or one more sentence there, that is enough. It is almost 150 words. You count the total number of words, it will be 150. This is enough actually. At the most you can add one sentence here on second paragraph or third paragraph and one more sentence here narrating something about France and the amount of money that they spend on these consumer items. That is enough for this answer. It comes above 150, that is enough. You may add one or two sentences more, that is all. I hope it is clear to you. Once check this summary of the entire essay. First we saw introduction, paraphrasing the question, not all the words. You cannot say instead of chart something else. Again, a chart is chart. You cannot say some other words. Enough. Main words, especially verbs, shows is paraphrased, expenditure is paraphrased. So introduction is given here. Then overview. Okay, all the key points highlighted. Then paragraph number 1, we speak about UK, and see in terms of cost etc. UK spend around this much amount. So actually more amount is spent by UK and comparatively less amount is spent by France. So this paragraph deals with UK and this paragraph deals with France. So paragraph number 1, see body paragraph number 1, cars, books and cameras. Paragraph number 2, computers and perfumes. So 2 paragraphs completed, our lesson also completed. I hope it is clear to you. Thank you for watching. For more updates, subscribe my channel SGK English. Goodbye.